me now. Do you promise the funk? The whole funk, nothing but the funk. Ready or not, here we come, getting down on.
I grew up with my brother Larry Hoover, with my brother Shorty Freeman, another brother by the name of Willie Lloyd, who represent and are advisors for Gangster disciples, Black disciples, Vice Lord Nation. They were the brothers that's behind the walls of the Correctional Center, Illinois Department of Corrections. They reached out to me for me to come out and unify all the various nations that you see around this right here. They're united in peace because we realize, I say we because I am a part of them as African American male. Okay, there was a study done at the University of Chicago where they say by the year 2000, 75% of African American males will either be on drugs, in the penitentiary, on probation, on parole. We found out that subconsciously the young brothers on the street have became a part of a mechanism where they were annihilating the African American community. They have became subconsciously agents of genocide for our community. We realized that there was a third hand involved in the drugs in our community, as well as the guns being put in our community. And there was a story in the Tribune that verified or gave credence to what we had believed all the time when they said that Ali Noah was responsible for bringing transport planes of cocaine to the United States to help with the Iran-Contra piece, okay, of the scandal. We grew up in our community where we had in confrontation with individuals. Say if I have a confrontation with Mike, I took it straight to Mike, or he would bring it straight to me. I wouldn't go down Mike's block and shoot down his block. He wouldn't come down my block, shoot down my block. If he come out his house with his wife or his child, or I came out with my wife or a child, we gave each other a stare and a pass. We're seeing now, not just in Peoria, but all over the country, how drive-by shootings have became something out the past because it came out the Al Capone era. Okay, it never came in our era. We always were gladiators. We either took it from here, and whether we got a black eye or whatever, we end up going to the prom or to a dance afterwards, okay, or even end up on the same corner drinking wine at the same bottle. Larry Hoover, brother that has been locked up for 20 years in the penitentiary. By the grace of God, his mind is intact. He's wise. Brother Jeff Ford, as they call him Malik for the El Rukins, he sent word out to talk to the Stone Nation to bring about peace. Willie Lloyd from the Vice Lord is a part of the peace mechanism. So them brothers said, we're going to come together for peace. We're going to tell everybody that respect us to come together for peace so that we can find out who's perpetrating the crimes in our community, okay? If the various administrations in the various cities saying that the gangs are doing all this, then the gangs say, okay, we're not going to do it anymore. And it's still happening. So then the gangs, for lack of a better word, which we call nations, say we're going to work with the community to help uproot those that still perpetrating crime. So getting to this. This right here is the Vice Lord insignia. They have 5 nations within the Vice Lord nation. This is the El Rukins. This is the crescent that everyone on this side give credit to. That's where you come with the 5 points of the star. This is the Cobra nation. This is the Stone nation. This is the Gangster Disciple Nation. This is the Black Gangster Organization. This is the Black Disciples. These are the souls. We came together under the guise of St. Matthew's 5:9, where it says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God." And it's working. It's working in Chicago, where it was anywhere from 10 to 17 shootings a day. It's been broke down to where it may be 7 a week. Mayor Daley says it's not working, but the numbers prove different. In Caprini Green, where Dantrell Davis was slain, there's been no shootings there, no murders, no aggravated assaults, except for one altercation where a guy who was in violation, okay, trying to create a war, he was put in check. Okay, so there's an enforcement mechanism all the way around. We're working with the authorities within the city of Chicago, African American Patrolmen's League, community groups, Operation Push, 21st Century Vote, NAACP, Prince Asiel and the Hebrew Israelite community, and to go on and on. We work within the schools. We go to the schools where there's problems that the schools say. If there's a problem in the school and there's 5 different organizations, we take a member from each one of the organizations and we go to the schools, and we tell them, if you are stone, here's a brother, there's a stone. He tells them, peace is in. If you're Gangster Disciple, I'll be there for the Gangster Disciples. I said, peace is in, and we lock hands. If you're Cobra, it go on and on like that. So therefore, that school has no more problems. We are against illiteracy. Every nation has in their creed that to be illiterate is a violation. You must go to school, to the point that we have a mechanism built into every nation where we do our own truancy. If they flying up under any one of these flags, we find out why they're not in school. If they've been kicked out of school, I'll go there to speak, or one of the brothers from the various nations, whoever it is, he will go to speak to the principal or the counselor to find out what the problem is and try to make it work. We believe in political empowerment, like every ethnic group and community. We believe in economic empowerment. So, with that, I hope that answered everyone's question. I want to get to the guys of why.
We're going to go into the press conference. I think he did an excellent job of giving you guys.
If you had a choice of colors, which one would you choose, my brothers? If there was no day or night, which would you prefer to be right? How long have you hated your white teacher? Who told you you love your black preacher? Do you respect your brother's woman friend?
The thrust of this effort is to convert the camaraderie and the sense of family that these organizations have provided into constructive, nonviolent alternatives to the social ills that have plagued thousands of young African American males. My presence in Peoria today is at the invitation of Brother Michael Banks and this brother here, Ivory. Brother Michael Banks, who was former executive director of Community Action Agency, intern executive director of McFarland Bragg, whom I just met today, my brother. Pleasure, okay? And several other concerned citizens about the problem of youth homicide, is to reach out to the various organizations here in Peoria and issue a call of peace through an umbrella of unity that seeks to find constructive alternatives for young men and women caught up in a cycle of poverty, teenage pregnancy, unemployment, and other social ills that lead to negative behavior. We certainly appreciate the efforts of church groups, elected officials, and other concerned citizens who are interested in this problem. And during the next day or so, I intend to meet with various elected officials, candidates, concerned citizens, and corporate citizens to develop a comprehensive plan towards solving youth homicide, which is a national epidemic, according to the Department of Health and Human Services. At this point, we know that simply stopping violence is not enough, but it is the first step in a 1,000-mile journey that begins with that first step. In order to have constructive dialogue, there must be peace.
Brother Gator, many people were confused in terms of how the shooting of Dantrell Davis played a role in the peace initiative in Chicago. Can you give our viewers and the press who are here today a little background in terms of what started United in Peace and where it's going?
As you should also know, Dantrell Davis was the third child that had got killed coming from out of that school, general school, okay? Let alone how many other children have got shot within Chicago in the Capri Green complex. Before Dantrell Davis shooting, it was peace in Capri Green for about 7.5 weeks. The sniper or someone wanted to disrupt that peace. That's why it was a sniper shooting. That's why he went up to the roof or up to whatever the number floor it was and was going to shoot from one end of a complex to the other end of the complex. So you can understand what I'm saying. Capri Green was split into like 4 sections. Cobras had one section which may be, is hypothetical, which may be the north end of Capri Green. GDs may have the east end of Capri Green. Stones may have the west end of Capri Green, okay? Vice Lords may have the south end of Capri Green, okay? Now, if a shot is coming from the south side to the north side, that north side faction would think that the south side group is the one that fired the shot and they will retaliate instead of asking the question where the shot came from. So that's why we put together this United Nation of all the nations, whereas we sit down and we talk and we find out what is really happening. Dantrell Davis is what we named the piece in honor of Dantrell Davis and Nancy Jefferson, okay, who was a senior citizen on the west side, Midwest Community Council, who had died. But she was someone, she was a mother to all of us. So it was named in their honor. The piece was being worked out for about 18 months, okay? It can't happen overnight. So it started off with black disciples and the gangster disciples coming together. Then we was reaching out to the Cobras out of respect to everyone. Like what I did, along with some other brothers, would go from penitentiary to penitentiary to talk with the various leaders within those institutions. Okay, out of respect, I didn't want them to get the feeling that I was coming to take over anything. So to answer your question, Dantrell Davis is not the sole reason why we came together. It's the other victims that have been slain, the other mothers and fathers who was crying because someone in their family had been slain. So it's not the nucleus. It's one of the many reasons that we come together for peace.
Yeah, Gator, can you share with our Captions viewers what you plan to accomplish over the meetings the next day or so?
Okay, what they can do is help to provide an opportunity of hope through concern. Okay, when you see what is happening over in Israel, where they're sitting down with known terrorists to bring about a gas for peace, we feel like our government, by saying the administrations or the corporate figures within our country should put forth all effort to help us stop the killing of us. Okay, to show that, hey, if you're willing to do all that you can for peace, then we're willing to assist you in making it happen by helping to provide jobs or getting resources for whatever programs you want to bring into the community. Again, I've been blessed by God to be the spokesman for them. I'm honored. Okay, some people say, you know, it's a lot of, you're sacrificing a lot, you know. I have my wife here. I have a son. I have grandchildren. Okay, I know this brother has concerns the same as I do. We know that we're putting ourselves out front. We understand COINTELPRO. We understand that agent provocateurs will be put into place to try to destroy our character, okay, or to take us out. Okay, so we have nothing to be afraid of outside of God, and that's our armor. So I know that if the mayor or whomever is really concerned about bettering the situation for African Americans within the city, not just because it's an election or a soundbite, then we're saying we feel honored to be welcome to come to a table with them to help find a solution.
Gator, the discussion about nations and how young people in Peoria relate to them and the Illinois Bureau of Prisons or the Criminal Justice Department, can you tell us how that in fact relates to your presence here today?
Well, from what I understand, okay, it may be Black Disciples here, it may be other organizations here. What I do know, Peoria is in the state of Illinois, okay? Illinois has the Illinois Department of Corrections. So whether someone commit a crime in Madison, Peoria, and Cairo, they all come through the same system. You see what I'm saying? Larry Hoover, Shorty Freeman, the brother Willie Lord, he's home now. These were brothers that helped young brothers not get raped in the penitentiary. Okay? They took the time to tell them to learn from their own experience because they got tired of seeing that it was young brothers from 17, you know, to 21 coming in with the rest of their life wiped out. They grabbed the young brothers off the yard, put their Bible in their hand, put the dictionary in their hand, tell them to learn some fat on their head, and if you up under these flags in the penitentiary for them to protect their manhood, then that's how you have to come out of it. They help with the rehabilitation of men and women more so than a lot of the agencies that's being paid to do this.
Gator, will you be prepared to talk to anyone interested in bringing about peace in Peoria over the next day or so?
Well, I'll be talking to anyone. I'll be talking with the churches. You follow me? That's a nation. You know, I'll be talking to anyone that's concerned about making Peoria not just better for African Americans, but for better for everyone involved, okay? Because we know that there's not just African American gangs in Peoria. Okay, let's get with that now, okay? Every ethnic group has a gang within their, you know, confine, okay? But when they talk about gangs, only thing the media portray is African American. So everyone think gang African American, okay? They don't look at the Lebanese gangs or the Italian gangs or the Polish gangs. Okay, they look at Hispanic gangs. You see what I'm saying? So we got to understand that this is a social ill. Okay? Poverty has no color lines. Poor is poor. Starving is starving, you know. By them putting all the emphasis on the African American males that was being killed and was being slaughtered and how pitiful it was, they said, okay, good, then we'll be the nucleus to show how pitiful it is for any ethnic group to kill of themselves.
You've had an opportunity to discuss with the leadership of the various nations their desire for peace and jobs for their people. While you've been in Peoria, do you feel that same desire for peace and jobs exists right here among us?
Yes, they do.
And they're looking for a way to try to get
Yes, they do. Okay, this is the first time in history, okay, they talk about peace treaties before. This is the first time that everyone is concerned, okay? Everyone is accepting their responsibility, okay? The church leaders know that they're supposed to be on the pulpit, not just asking people to put money in the pan. They're supposed to be on the pulpit saying, hey, if these brothers and sisters want to be about peace, let us say a prayer to give them the strength to carry the peace initiative off. Let us say a prayer to protect them from those that don't want the peace to happen. Okay, everyone have a responsibility. The business leaders, hey, if these young men and women are sincere about peace, let us teach them how to manage a business. Community agencies, if these gentlemen and ladies are sincere about peace, let us show them how to build and organize an agency. So they are sincere about it because they have children. We realize it's not of our choice that we have been put in a leadership position to bring African Americans into the 21st century. That responsibility has been placed upon our shoulders and we're accepting it.
Will you share with our viewers who benefits when African American youth are not at peace?
Oh, sure. I was waiting for them to ask that question. The people who benefit from us not having peace, okay, is the Illinois State Correctional Center. Okay, it's the economy of every downstate community that's 98% Caucasian. Every penitentiary is built downstate. You have to ride anywhere from an hour and a half ride to 6 hours riding. Coming down, Stand Up News State of Illinois was that big until I started going to visit brothers in the women in the various penitentiaries. You know, that's been calling out, hey, could someone come down and talk to us? So we saying, if it costs anywhere from $25,000 to $30,000 to house an inmate, okay, why don't they slice that up? The inmate doesn't return back to the penitentiary. That's $30,000 they ain't got to spend. Just take $15,000 out of that and put it towards the education. You see what I'm saying? So we can benefit more as a people to support the peace initiative. We as African Americans, we gonna be about the peace, whether we get support or not. We have no other reason to do it other than to make sure that our children can grow up and realize that they can hug and kiss and love their brothers and sisters, okay? To respect themselves, okay? To know who they are. And we don't want to go down in history as being responsible for 75% of African American males being locked up because we didn't assume our responsibility to give the young brothers and sisters another positive role model to say, hey, learn from what we did. My son or grandson or my granddaughter shouldn't have to go to the penitentiary to do 4 years in a day to become wise about themselves. Use me for that stepping stone.
Any other questions before we wrap this up? If not, we want to thank you all for coming. And as I indicated, there's a good possibility, should things go the way we anticipate, that you'll be getting a communique about a press conference tomorrow that would give a follow-up to Brother Bradley's visit and what was accomplished during the day and a half he's been here in town. Thanks a lot for coming.
Michael, you mentioned it's going to be...
Don't touch that dial, because Captions is going to bring you in our second part more of Wallace Gator Bradley, and what happened once we had an opportunity to meet and discuss and have dialogue with young people from the various nations. You won't want to miss this second half of Captions, so stay right there. Don't go nowhere.
Greetings with peace and love. My name is Wallace Gator Bradley, and today's marks a accumulation of some very serious work that must be done in our cities, and to be safe for our children to grow up and have a future within. We can defy the statistics of a project where they're looking forward to lock up 75% of our brothers by the year 2000. I am honored to be here among all of you from the various nations. Whether you're 5 points or 6 points, I want to say I love it. I know those that's watching this love it, because from here in Peoria, we're going to show that it can work. I offer y'all my blessing. I offer you my love, life, and loyalty. I particularly want to thank Mayor Maloof, Chief Ribby, and Councilman Ledoux. Where's the councilman at? And Councilman Pope. I heard a lot about you. So I hope that we're not faking them out, because I don't feel that they faking me out or faking anyone else out. Not the police department, not the mayor, and most of all, not you, Mike. Okay, because they know what you do for them in the community. Okay?
You also have another Councilman Eunice here.
Councilman Eunice?
Thank you, Mr. Bradley. Welcome to Peoria.
Hey, Prejudice Man, thank you. For taking time out of their schedules to visit with me and to share their concerns about the future. It's no longer just your neighborhood, it's our neighborhood now. Mine too, out of love. Okay? While in Peoria for the past couple of days, I have had an opportunity to renew my working relationship with the former director of your community action agency, Michael Banks, who over the years has worked with me on various civic projects, and I also want to thank him for the vision to invite me to come to your city, man, and bring a message of peace. What you see here today represents a first step toward rebuilding our neighborhoods, not only in Peoria and Chicago, but throughout Illinois and other states who are suffering from the devastating effects of poverty and other social illness. I look forward to working with you, Brother Banks, as a resource developer for me, because again, I wouldn't know which corner was what. That's why I'm glad that peace is in, so I know I'll be safe on any corner that I walk on. Again, thank y'all, man.
Hey.
Man, kind of choked up. I look forward to working with you, Brother Banks, as a resource developer. For once we have peace, we must have development. I look forward to working with you, elected officials, who have historically turned our problem as a gang problem, when in reality it's a social problem that